God. Okay, well, here we are. Okay, we started at 8, is that correct? Yes. Okay. Everyone's ready? Yes. I'm going to do it together. Is it because of the full moon? Is that why things are slow? Or is it 10, 108? Ooh. I'm getting vertigo. Okay, text 8. My dear Shukadeva Swami, you have already explained Shankarshan, who belongs to the second quadruple, appeared as a son of a Rohini named Balaram. If Balaram was not transferred from one body to another, how is it possible that he was first in the womb of Devaki, then in the womb of Rohini, and later? Why did Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, leave the house of his father Vasudeva and transfer himself to the house of Nanda in Vrindavan? Where did the Lord, the master of the Yadu dynasty, live with his relatives in Vrindavan? Lord Krishna lived both in Vrindavan and in Mathura. Why did he kill Kamsa, his mother's brother? Such killing is not at all sanctioned in the Shastras. Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead, has no material body, yet he appears as a human being. For how many years did he live with the descendants of Vrishni? How many wives did he marry? And for how many years did he live in Dwarka? O great sage who know everything about Krishna, please describe in detail all the activities of which I have inquired, and also those of which, for I have full faith and am very eager to hear. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I've given up everything. Yet because I am drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna, which is flowing from the lotus, my hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Jai. And now we're doing verse 13, okay. Sorry. Neshati dushahang shunmang Chaktudam api padhate Pibandang twang vimobhajam Mukham vojam Chutam harikatamritam Neshati dushaha kshunmang Chaktudam api bhadate Pibandang twang mukham bhoja Chutam harikatamritam Neshati dusaha kshunmang Chaktudam api bhadate
Pibantam tvam mukham
Bhoja
Chutam
harikatamritam Neshati dusa shumam Chaktudam api bhadate Chutam harikatamritam
Neshati
Yaktodam abhivadate
Pibantam tvam mukham bhoja
Chutam harikatamritam
Chutam harikatamritam. Rohan.
Neshati dusaha shurma
Yaktadu abhivadate
Chaktudam vibhadate Pibantam Tvam Bakhamboja Chitam Ari Katamrita. You want to try it? Nashadi Shumang. Alex? You want to try it? Jagodam Abhibhadate. Pibanam Tvam Boja Chitam Ari Katamrita. No, not. Esha, all this. Atidu Shaha, extremely difficult to bear. Shut, hunger. Mam, unto me. Chakta udum, even after giving up drinking water. Api, also. Abhadhate, does not hinder. Pibantam, while drinking. Twat mukha ambojamochatam, emanating from your lotus mouth. Harikata amritam, the nectar of topics concerning Krishna. Translation, we can say this together. Because of my vow on the verge of death, I've given up even drinking water. It's because I'm drinking the nectar of topics about Krishna. It's flowing from the lotus mouth of your lordship. My hunger and thirst, which are extremely difficult to bear, cannot hinder me. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Please don't look at your phones, okay? Let's have some fun here. To prepare to meet death in 7 days, Maharaj Parikshit gave up all food and drink. As a human being, he was certainly both hungry and thirsty. And therefore, Shukadeva Goswami might have wanted to stop narrating the transcendental topics of Krishna. But despite his fast, Maharaj Parikshit was not at all
Tired. Sleepy. Hungry. Lazy. Slumpy.
fatigued. The hunger and thirst for my fast does not disturb me, he said. Once, when I felt very thirsty, I went to the ashram of Shamika Muni to drink water. But the Muni did not supply it. I therefore wrapped a dead snake over his shoulder. And that is why I was cursed by the Brahmin boy. Now, however, I am quite fit. Okay? And I am not at all disturbed by my hunger and thirst. This indicates that although on the material platform there are disturbances from hunger and thirst, on the spiritual there is no such thing as fatigue. The entire is how to go Vishaka?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. How are you?
I'm doing okay. How about you? You sound okay.
Yes, I'm okay. I'm good and happy. I couldn't make it for today's morning program, so I should do myself here, right?
Okay, well, I've got you on speaker, right? And I'm in the middle of a class right now.
Oh. All right. Okay. I'll call you after the class.
At 8:30. Thank you. Okay. Okay, now, where was I? And why? And why? Because I didn't help myself.
Mommy!
These are some lines from the drama. Don't worry about the artists in this room. Okay. Okay. The entire world is suffering because of spiritual thirst. Every living being is Brahman, or spirit soul, and needs spiritual food to satisfy his hunger and thirst. Unfortunately, however, the world is completely unaware of the nectar of Krishna Katha. The movement is therefore a boon to philosophers, religionists, and people in general. There is certainly a charming attraction in
Krishna.
and Krishna Katha. Therefore, the absolute truth is called Krishna, the most
Divine.
Beautiful.
attractive. Didn't have a Krishna. The most Amrita, or the word Amrita, is also an important reference to the moon, sky. And the word Ambuja means lotus. The pleasing moonshine and pleasing les fleurs fragrantes of the lotus combine to bring pleasure to every hearing. Krishna from the mouth of Shukadeva Goswami, as it is said, Matira na Krishne paratasvabha mito pipajita griha vratanam ananta gobira vishatam tamisram puna punascharivita charvananam. Because of their uncontrolled persons too, addicted to materialistic life, make progress toward hellish conditions and repeatedly chew that which has already been under our desks and stuff. People their inclinations toward Krishna is never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. This is from the Bhagavatam 7th Canto, Chapter 5, Text 30. At the present moment, all of human society is engaged in the business of chewing the truth. People are prepared to undergo Mrityu Sansara Vartmani, taking birth in one form, dying, accepting another form, and dying again. To this repetition of Krishna Katha, or Krishna consciousness, is absolutely
necessary.
Very good.
But
Unless one
hears
Krishna Katha from a realized soul, like one cannot relish the nectar of Krishna Katha, which puts an end to all
misery, suffering,
material fatigue. Okay. And enjoy the blissful life of transcendental existence. In relation to the Krishna consciousness we actually see that those who have tasted the nectar of Krishna lose all material desires, whereas those who cannot understand Krishna or Krishna Katha regard the Krishna conscious life as brain washing and mind control. You guys drive me crazy. While the devotees enjoy a spiritual Bliss. The non-devotees are surprised that the devotees have forgotten material hankerings. Hare Krishna. Yeah, sometimes people forget that, like spiritual life can be joyful. It should be executed in a happy manner, right? And therefore we encourage proper dancing and smiling and taking melodies that don't sound like you're at a funeral home. Like really, sometimes, my God. Everyone should be upbeat, okay, in this regard. Now, even at the time of death, the story here is to do with Krishna's Leela, his pastimes, and the person who's hearing about the pastimes. Parikshit Maharaj is the listener, and it is Shukadeva Goswami who's doing the narrative. And he's telling the whole tale about the Lord's birth and about all the details that surround it. It's always very interesting, maybe paradoxical, that for such a joyous thing as God coming into the world, why is it that surrounding the event there's so much grief, so much agonizing pain, so much violence, like in the case of Krishna's birth, where or the events leading up to his birth. There's death, there's infanticide activities. I can't think of anything worse than that. Killing babies. It's horrible. There's nothing more horrible. It's not haribol, it's horrible, right? And so I remember when I was quite young, I was living in southern Ontario, as you know, and the Windsor Star was our major newspaper. It was better than the Chatham Daily News. And there was an article in there in the religious section. They don't have religious sections in the newspapers anymore. By the way, they don't even have newspapers anymore. Yeah, but they used to have religious editors, and our, let's say, communication directors worldwide were encouraged to get in touch with their religious editors, but there are no more religious editors. So that's kind of a sad thing. But there was an article in the Windsor Star, and it was a comparative study of the birth of Krishna and the birth of Jesus. So there's a lot of parallels, honestly, There was a person by the name of King Herod, and that when they exhumed his body, they found that he had died from some venereal disease, so he was not a nice man, And, but it was Herod that put out an order that let all the male children that have been born in a certain period of time be murdered. That was the order. Can you imagine a leader telling, his orderlies go out and kill the babies that are born, especially a selective gender? I mean, what kind of a Hare Krishna? So that's going on. Jesus is born in a manger, Krishna was born in a prison, but he was transferred to more or less a manger. I mean, where there were cows and bulls and calves and things like that. Honestly, a lot of similarities. Some people from the Orient, they came, guys in turbans, and they came. They heard about a great Messiah coming, that we're talking about Jesus Christ, and they brought gold, frankincense, sounds pretty Indian-like, and myrrh, like things that were very common commodities in India. India was full of gold, and it had lots, and diamonds and everything. And then the British came along and, we're going to put it in our museum. Haribol, goodbye. Okay. So we have all kinds of parallels in this matter. Krishna was spared of suffering, although there were attempts made, like in the case of Jesus. We all heard about the crucifixion that went on. It seemed that Krishna was spared of all this. He could handle anything. He could take care of every asura that came along his way. And it was Kamsa, who's like the parallel to Herod, who sent an asura almost every day to Gokula, the place where Nanda and Yashoda were camping out, if I can use that term. Yeah. So I found the article very interesting that they had this comparative study and, two divinities, like Jesus and Krishna. And by the way, Srila Prabhupada gave a talk once. It was in Australia, if I'm not mistaken. And he was talking a lot about Krishna. He said Krishna this and Krishna that. And then someone in the group who came from another faith, the Christian group, he said, what about being Christian? And then Srila Prabhupada said, Krishna, Christian, sounds the same. In fact, some theologians, they actually compare the approach of Christianity towards God as loving the Father to the Bhakti tradition in our like say the bigger scope, the Hindu or Vedic culture. They compare it. The approach is the same. The mood is the same, one of love, and most of you have seen pictures of Jesus when he was a baby in the arms of his mother, Madonna, not the one you are thinking of. Okay, and like Jesus, the bambino, the child of Mother Mary. And it's beautiful. I was raised Catholic, so I saw this. These images were in front of you all the time. And then when I saw one of the devotees had rendered a Vedic version of that, Krishna and Mother Yashoda's arms, said, "Oh yeah, okay, that computes." So some of the rasas that we find in our tradition are paralleled in the Christian tradition as well, even conjugal love. I think we mentioned this once before. The devotees went to court back in Russia, somewhere in the Eastern Bloc somewhere, and there was a nun who was complaining about our culture, our mythology, if you will. That Krishna is like a playboy. He has many girlfriends or wives. That's immoral. And then the lawyer that spoke on our behalf, he said, "Now you are a nun." I said, "Yes, I'm a nun." "And what does that mean to you in terms of your relationship with Jesus?" He said, "That means I'm the wife or the bride of Jesus." He said, "And how many ladies live in your convent, in your nunnery?" I said, "Well, we have a few people." And the lawyer says, "I rest my case." More or less, that was the conclusion, right? So there's a lot of those kind of relationships that are there. In fact, every once in a while, I just have to look at George Harrison's intro to the Krishna book. And he says, it might sound strange, but you can actually play with God, and that there's conjugal relationship with God. The playing is on the Sakya level. Playing with God, who could ever come up with an idea like that? Because in most traditions, God is approached out of fear. You feel threatened. Oh, if I don't behave, then a thunderbolt will come, lightning will strike, and I'll die, And God is old, and he's mean, and he's vindictive, And of course, there's an element of that there. It has to be there. I think about it sometimes. Krishna consciousness is about love, but we don't always portray it. But once in a while, the guru has to tell the disciple, "Get your act together, buddy." Sometimes it has to come like a thunderbolt. Otherwise, you don't change, right? If it's all going to be lovey-dovey stuff, then there won't be a transformation. And transformation is very, very important in our Krishna consciousness. We're actually, going through these leelas. Now we're in the 10th canto, the most, let's say, compelling or charming aspect of the whole 12 canto, narrative of the Bhagavatam. It's really the best. Wouldn't you agree? Krishna's got it all, We hear it. We stay with his leela, We stay with his pastimes. In fact, the Bhagavatam, which is the ripened fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge, we don't hear about any other avatars that really highlight the child. Like, we don't dwell on it in Ram Leela, maybe Vamana to some degree, but it doesn't get into details like it does with Krishna. So it appears that the author, Veda Vyasa, who's the incarnation of the personality of Godhead, literary, is saying, we have to spend some time here. We have to spend some time with God as a child. You know, it's important. Because that's where the love comes out. I mean, everybody loves kids, right? I mean, there's a few people that love them in a very perverted way. Let's not even go there. But that's another horrible thing, horrible act. But when we talk about children, they're absolutely adorable. You get them on the stage and you ask them to put a microphone to their mouth and they do something cute. When I was a kid growing up, we watched television. We didn't have these things, right? You had one TV, and we used to watch in the summertime, because we had some time off before we got summer jobs. We'd watch TV, and there was a Queen for a Day. Do you remember that? Oh, yes. And there was Art Linkletter. He was a Canadian guy. You know, he'd ask, at the end of the whole show, which is just like a half hour, he'd have a microphone and he'd ask kids things. And his famous line was, "Kings say the darndest things." Okay? So they do darndest things. They also do interesting things, you know? And they make us laugh. They make us cry. They sometimes make us angry. But a lot of attention goes to kids. So God decided, I'm going to manifest myself. I'm going to give some time to my childhood, to the public. To the public. And only in Krishna consciousness do we have a God, like our God. Let's own Krishna, shall we? Let's hug him for a moment. And, believe in the fact that he's a charmer. That's all. And he gets into his antics. He gets into his little, what would you call it? Menaces, you know? And everybody loves it, you know? And of course, he's charged for being a thief. He steals butter, but it's his butter, man. He owns the butter. He owns the cows, you know? And in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that I am the butter. I am the fire. I am the butter. So, he can steal himself. So, look at what he does and look at what he says also. I think when it comes to Krishna's pastimes, we all have pick and choose a little bit. Like when we were young, everyone chose their favorite Beatle, whether it's George or Paul or John or Ringo, right? A lot of the girls liked Paul because he was the cutest, right? Some of the guys liked George because he was the most serious, although he's in his real life, he's quite light. So in the same way, you can pick and choose which facet of Krishna's life you like the most. And we love Kartik. It's coming up. It's kind of around the corner. And we love to dwell on Krishna's pastimes, to deal with butter, to deal with a rope, to deal with a butter pot, to deal with a stick, and all those things, and all the imagery that is conjured up with all these props, if you will, right? Then there is Krishna, just a little bit older. He does his heroic things. He tackles the asuras, and he deals with them very well, like this. He tightens his belt when he's dealing with some of them and coming, come on, come on. And he has a personalized way of dealing with all of them, Sometimes it's a fist in the mouth. Sometimes it's a reeling, I remember we used to visit Yamuna Devi at her home at Sharanagati when she was there. And she told me once, she said, I remember Prabhupada imitating Krishna and Balaram, taking the Dhenukasur. And Prabhupada went like this. He was very theatrical about it. He would just grab the hind like this, and he'd go. So just demonstrating one of the pastimes of the Lord. So that's not Krishna as a baby, but Krishna as a child. And then he gets later on. Okay, yeah, everybody loves this, right? There he is, and Balaram's at it too. And everyone's getting into it. And there was a major deforestation program that happened. Right after that, all the trees were downed, you know. But that, even when trees come down, it gives a chance for other trees. So you can't fault God, you know, for this. Okay. Actually, Suresh, didn't I see you in Hawaii once? We met there once, right? Hawaii. I think you were there for a time. And so we went downtown to Honolulu to do some japa. And one of the young men, he said, "Hey, Maharaj?" I said, "Yes." You know Joni Mitchell's song, you know, about the pink hotel, you know, so they paved paradise, put up a parking lot, boo, boo, pa, 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 pa. Do you know that one? They set up a hotel, a boutique, and a something hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot, boo, pa, pa, pa. Okay, so what she's saying, you don't know, you don't appreciate what you've got until it's gone, right? Like parents, grandparents, friends, you know, your house, your job, you know. You don't appreciate it enough until it's gone. So, yeah, here's another image. Look at him. Whoa! Whoa!
This look like go nito ito.
Yeah, they do.
Because they are.
I mean,
Yeah, well, I don't know how that. Okay, well, there's no difference, right? Yes. Okay, so, and of course, then Krishna, he comes into his maturation, you know, in terms of the physical self, you know. He becomes an adult, and especially in the point, much more in his senior years, he's speaking the Bhagavad Gita. So I have my own preference. I love that side of Krishna. I love the fact that he's stabilizing the life of Arjuna, who's very much in a frenzy and in a quandary, and Krishna actually takes the time to anchor Arjuna and get him off the emotional platform, and just be reasonable, and also to go beyond reason, go beyond the rationale, because Arjuna was trying to be rational with Krishna. If we start to take up arms against family members, you know, it's not a good thing. In fact, I've heard by parampara, disciplic succession, that those who destroy family traditions will always dwell in hell. Dwell in hell. Okay, so it's not a good deal. It's not a good program. He was trying to be rational, you know, and to be parampara about it to God. But Krishna was helping him on another level, said you have your dharma to do, and the highest dharma is to do something for your soul and the souls of others. Okay, so that's really what it's all about. We are conditioned souls. We are, you could be one of two souls. One is conditional and the other one's constitutional. And the constitutional one is where we want to be at. Constitution means to do what is right, to do what is proper, and what comes natural and what comes organic. You know, that's what we mean by constitutional soul as opposed to conditioned soul. So just remember, two kinds of souls. You know, you can write that down if you like. You know, and just like there's two souls here, if you can remember that image, two souls. Well, there's two souls, but one thing is that one soul, a conditioned soul, can become a constitutional soul, and that's where the transformation comes in. We're looking at Krishna's Leela because we want transformation. We're concentrating on the Leela of the Lord instead of our own Leela. You know, we do that. We spend some time in the day when we think about our youth, and maybe when we're young and when we're teenagers, and we're like not too much short of being a terrorist, you know, because that's the definition of teenager, another name of terrorist. Okay, and so we do think a little bit about our past, which wasn't always glorious, but we learn from that. It's okay. Now, last point. I got my second initiation by Srila Prabhupada in 1974 at New Vrindavan in West Virginia, and you know, it was Brahmananda Swami who did the yajna, the havan and all that, but it was Prabhupada who spoke. And one thing he says, Srila Prabhupada said that I won't forget, is that please think about what you were doing before and not what you are doing now. You have to do a comparative study. And it's a day and night, right? Black and he didn't say day and night, but he was helping us to understand the good fortune that has come to us as a result of being engaged in devotional service. You have to do that once in a while. There are things that you think about in the past that make you a little embarrassed, and you say, what was I thinking? Right? When I did this or said that, or so anyways, thanks to Krishna, thanks to God that he's come to us, and as a child, Hare Krishna. Thank you. Now we'll leave the time open for your questions. We've got 10 minutes to make the rest of the program meaningful before we dive into manger. Yes. All right.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, thank you for the lecture and discussion. So, you mentioned.
I mentioned.
That conditioned soul, we can convert into a constitutional soul.
Yes.
But can someone constitutional soul become conditioned soul?
Yes, that's what's happened to all of us. Krishna explains in the Bhagavad Gita that, in terms of being a constitutional soul and becoming conditioned, it's there in the Ichchidvesha Samutena, Dvandva Mohina Bharata. People ask, why did the fall happen? Why did we fall from a constitutional position to a conditional one? It's because of desire and hate. Ichchidvesha, incredible ambition, and also because of contempt, hate. So love and hate is what got us into trouble, and it will continue to keep us in trouble. We'll continue to go through this birth and death, and continually, if we don't change our course, if we don't change basically it's attitude. And Krishna consciousness is all about attitude. It's like a proper attitude. Nowadays, when people say, that guy's got an attitude, it means bad. But real attitude can either go this way or go that way. So we want a good attitude, a healthy attitude, an attitude of service. One of our boys who came in during the kirtan, he had a T-shirt. Do you remember what it said? On the back of his T-shirt?
Endless suffering.
Endless suffering. And a devotee wouldn't put anything like that on their T-shirt. They say, endless service.
Endless bliss.
Endless bliss. Yes, why not?
Endless prasad.
Well, okay. You want to go that route? Yeah, some of us do. Yes, okay. Any other questions or comments? Sureshwara, would you like to say something? Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Just to add one thing, you mentioned that a lot of times we sing melodies which are very, like you mentioned, like as if we are going to a funeral, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I like the way you're singing and you lift everybody up,
Oh.
right? So do you recommend something more to that? You want to add like
I don't know. There were some, Prabhupada gave us some melodies, and I think you only need, you have to have about 7 or 8, maybe a dozen, and just recycle them. You don't need to do it. Some of our heroes, kirtan heroes in the movement, sometimes you hear their recordings as, oh my God, who died? No, really. It's okay to have those different mellows, but I think Prabhupada was, for the most part, upbeat, because there's so much darkness in the world. We need a break, isn't it?
Yes.
People are, where was it? Where was I was in some house the other day. Oh yeah, I went to the dentist. And they had a screen there, and I was just kind of like looking, because I don't watch TV, right? I said, and they have these serious people, and they're looking at the teleprompter. So-and-so killed, blah, 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 and when the police came, they did research, blah, blah, blah. Boy missing, blah, 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 the next one. And it just like one pathetic thing after another. And I mentioned to the lady that was doing my cleaning, said, oh, I know what you're talking about. I don't watch the news anymore. It made me depressed. So people are exposed to depressed information all the time. And so we need a break. And that break is singing, dancing with your arms out, not like this. See that pillar over there? Some of us look like that. And it's not what Prabhupada gave us, right? How many people want to look like that? Okay. Okay, so anyways, it's good to know some of the traditional melodies. And sometimes we sing Bollywood tunes, devotees don't know, but some people do. And when that melody comes up, then you think about the bedroom scene or something like that, right? And that we don't want. They may be popular, but it's nice if we can know what they are, what those traditional melodies are. Like, there's nothing wrong with Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. What's another one? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Okay, those types. Sorry. Sorry to cut you off. Okay. Yeah, anything else? We still have 5 minutes. Yes, signature.
Maharaj told a nice story that when George Harrison came to the Haight-Ashbury in '67, after the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper, he wanted to come, which was a very kind of psychedelic album. So he came to see how the hippies were actually living, and he was really turned off by what he saw. And then some reporter asked him about Hare Krishna, and so George said, actually, the mantra, as George would say, the mantra is a way to the music, So Mukunda read this in the San Francisco Chronicle, and so Mukunda couldn't help but write George a letter, which caught up with him in England. And Mukunda said, actually, it's the other way around. Music is a way to to actually focus on the mantra, not the other way around. It's about the mantra, not the music. So when the three householders went to England in '68 to start the movement, passing through Montreal and Europe, then they finally met the Beatles, and then George came to where the devotees were living in Betterton Street in the warehouse. And then John Sunder was introducing George to all his friends. And this is Mukunda. And so George immediately said, "Oh, Mukunda, you're the one who wrote me the letter. Thank you very much. You corrected me. The music is the way to the mantra, not the other way around." So, yeah. So sometimes, and that's the point of kirtan is to get us singing and dancing, but to focus on the mantra. And sometimes we forget about the mantra. We just get so caught up in melodies, or even in dancing, and forgetting about the deities. So, that's even in Tucson where I live, when the devotees start, dancing, and then they just, in the back, and then they're just getting into their own trip, and they're forgetting about the altar. I don't take part in that.
Yeah. I know sometimes drummers, I have a hard time with the drummers, they're into the rhythm, and then their mouths are,
Not even singing.
yeah. So the best thing is put the microphone to their mouth, and then they're, yeah, that right. It's about the mantra. It's about the mantra. Yeah, it was last week that I was in the place where I was born, Chatham, Ontario. We had a program at the library, and we promoted the program as a monk, a mantra, and music. MMM. It's kind of catchy. Okay, anything else? We have a half a minute. Yes.
I was just remembering when you were sharing about the article about the parallels between Jesus and Krishna. I remember that Bhakti Thakur once wrote this article called Moses to Mahaprabhu, and in that he was talking about how there is no understanding of the Madhura Rasa in Western countries, and the only rasa that Jesus took back to the Western countries was up until Vatsalya Rasa. So he always talks about praying to the Father. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur said that just how everything emanates from India and goes to Western countries, just like how sun rises and takes all the light away to the other things. Madhura Rasa will soon also go to Western countries. You know, and then Prabhupada brought it.
Yes. Yeah, well, this, I'm sure it came from India. It started there, and other traditions picked up on it, right? Almost anything. Deities, puja, some sense of puja. Yeah, it all started from the cradle of civilization, India. Hare Krishna. Was it Mark Twain that said something about India is the cradle of civilization? Somebody can look it up. Okay, that's anything else? A quickie? Okay, I forgot. I was asked to do the sort of facial yoga yesterday at the Festival of Joy. Let's do it now. Okay, everybody sit with their back, neck, and head in a straight line. Constantly, you can stare at the tip of the nose if you like. Okay, first of all, look dull. Don't smile. Bite that smile. Okay, just be totally emotionless. Okay, and what you do is put your two arms up in the air and bring the two palms together. Good. Now, lower those two palms, get your thumbs out, and hit your brow. Now what you do is ski slope off your nose, those two thumbs, and then hit your lips in the middle. Okay, now, fan out like this, and curve upwards like that. And then you have what Yeah, yesterday we had some very nice dignitaries from the member of parliament came, and somebody from the mayor's office. It was great. They really, the mood of the festival yesterday was so upbeat. It was so nice, you know. And it's the organizers. They came with their high level of bhakti. It was so great. And then when the rock band came, you know, that's not my favorite kind of music, but those guys always come with a cheerfulness that you can't be beat, you know. And they kind of set the tone, you know, for the rest of the day. And of course, then we have the actors on the stage. Now, where was I? And why? And why? Because he cannot help himself, he must. Okay, Sureshwara, we worked on the drama together. He's taken the script and tweaked it. He's a tweaker.
When you were sprinkling these drama on it, it just brings it back to the play.
Yeah, right.
The characters.
In normal conversation, it's like that. Someone comes up with a line that's from the script, and it just brings you back to the play, right? Hare Krishna. If we could do that with scripture, you know, like someone says something that's like, oh, Krishna said that. Oh. Peruse, thank you very much. Panchagopatirubhyascha vipasandirdevacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Yeah.